Hello and welcome to another edition of National Focus. I'm Kimani Saint-Jean. In the headlines, over $1 million has been spent thus far on the development of an ICT park in Picard, Portsmouth. Jennifer Wallace-Lafont is government's nominee for the presidency, and government expects a meat processing plant to meet its production target in the first 3 years of operations. Stay with us for details of these and other interesting stories right after the break.
Hey, I had a good time in town last week with a pretty girl, man.
Hey, carry me next time when you're going now.
Where we get paid Friday, we gonna go.
Careful, you might catch AIDS.
AIDS? Them girl pretty. Them girl can't get AIDS,
I
man.
think it's only ugly women have AIDS. Anybody could get it. If you get sick, what you can tell your wife?
Hey, your wife, come in.
Hey, change the topic. Change the topic.
Your family depends on you. Don't take home aids.
Do you have uncovered water storage drums around your home? Do you dispose of old tires, cans and old containers capable of holding water anywhere in your environment? Are you being bitten by mosquitoes, particularly at dusk and early morning? Do you keep houseplants in water? Do you spend your hard-earned cash to control mosquitoes? Has your community experienced dengue fever outbreaks? If your answer is yes to at least 3 questions above, you are at risk to dengue fever. Join the fight against dengue fever. The responsibility for a dengue-free Dominica lies with you. So, get rid of the Aedes aegypti mosquito.
Welcome back. The government of Dominica has decided to nominate former Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Jennifer Wallace-Lafont, as the country's new head of state. Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit made the announcement during an interview with DBS News on Wednesday morning.
We have put forward the name of the former Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Mrs. Jennifer Wallace-Lafont, a lady who I worked with when I was Minister for Education. She was a senior education officer at the time, and I thought she provided tremendous leadership to the Ministry of Education, and I appointed her when I became Prime Minister as a Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education. And I've always been satisfied with her performance there as a PS of Education, and her ability to always put the interests of the students and the interests of the system ahead of any other interests. So we believe that Mrs. Lafont will serve the people of Dominica exceptionally in this new position. And of course, Mrs. Lafont has in fact accepted the nomination of the government of Dominica.
On Thursday, September 12, 2013, the Parliament will meet where members will be officially informed of the vacancy of the presidency. Nominations will be expected to be put forward 14 days after that announcement. Government is estimating that the state-of-the-art meat processing plant currently being constructed in the Layu Park area will provide sufficient pork and poultry products for local consumption by the 3rd year of its operation. Actual physical work on the multi-purpose meat processing plant is ongoing, and the facility should be ready to be officially commissioned by the end of this year. The government of Venezuela is investing $10.6 million in the form of grant funds in the facility. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Dr. Eisenhower Douglas, told a forum at the Fortune Hotel on Tuesday that the facility will have a capacity output of 4,000 birds and 50 pigs per day.
That abattoir is currently under construction in the Layu area on 6 acres of land, currently under construction. The construction should be completed around November of this year. Okay? The entire construction should be 100% complete around November this year. Bearing in mind, we are in September. The investment is $10.6 million. So it's a major investment. And in terms of output, We're talking about at its peak performance, the abattoir will be able to process 50 pigs a day and 4,000 birds a day. That's what we're talking about. And we expect to reach that peak performance, output performance, in about 3 years. You start off, towards the end of the year, and in about 3 years' time, you should reach that.
Dr. Douglas says the effective use of veterinary medicine will become critical to the effective functioning of the meat processing plant.
The whole business about the veterinary input, the science of veterinary medicine is going to be crucial to that. Because at the end of the day, you have to ensure that you're producing a quality product, a wholesome product, a product that the consumer in the country can safely purchase. And of course, it is our intention to export also, in due course.
Dr. Douglas says the effective use of veterinary medicine will become critical to the effective functioning of the meat processing plant. And in other news, manager of the Industrial Estate Unit of the Aid Bank, Ian Williams, says the bank is well on its way in its efforts to develop an ICT park. The objective of the project is to build suitable working office space to attract ICT-based industries. The project will be developed in phases both in Canefield and Portsmouth.
In Canefield, we intend to construct a 25,000 square foot factory or office building, which will make provisions for housing at least 1,000 call center seats. A call center seat, 1,000 square foot call center seat factory will make provision for at least the employment of roughly 2,000 employees, since it could be done on 2 shifts.
To date, 25,000 square feet of space for a call center has been constructed at the Canefield Industrial Estate. 60,000 square feet of space will be constructed in Geneva as part of the proposed ICT park.
20,000 square feet space will be constructed for high-tech assembly, which would include the assembly of computers, cell phones, and all other ICT-based equipment. Another 20,000 square feet will be constructed for electronic assembly. 5,000 will be constructed for ICT-based businesses, e-commerce, banking, etc. 2,400 square feet will be constructed for a daycare within the ICT park. 3,000 square feet will be constructed for a reception area and canteen. 2,000 square feet will be constructed as a training center with provisions for teleconferencing and distance learning, which would encourage the training or facilitate the training of employees involved in the call center or telemarketing operations.
The Aid Bank has already spent approximately $1 million on the development of the PICAD project.
The project is a tangible evidence of government's policy to diversify the economy and provide greater thrust on the ICT sector, with special targets such as to attract foreign and joint venture industries which are labor intensive, to reduce the level of unemployment, to improve the skills basis of the general population.
A $2.1 million loan secured from the CARICOM Development Fund is expected to address a number of concerns related to the trading of agricultural produce. Trade Minister Honorable Dr. John Colley McIntyre told GIS News this week that these funds will facilitate the improvement of the quality of agricultural exports and address issues of marketing and labeling.
For a long time now, we've been speaking about the poor quality produce that leaves Dominica, and we are a country, Dominica, where we produce solid agricultural produce. As a matter of fact, most of the markets globally, I'm speaking of international markets, they prefer the Dominican produce. Example, when you speak of dasheen from Dominica, for example, yes, there's dasheen grown all around the region in terms of the Caribbean CARIFORUM. But there's something about the Dominican dashing, and I've just been told also Dominica and Jamaica, their dashing tastes very, very different to dashing from other parts of the region. And this is something we pride on ourselves on. Of course, we are blessed with a particular type of soil, and that produces a type of produce that is highly palatable to the consumers from a global point of view. So we have realized, and that's something that we know as government, that we want to put a lot of our money into production. But we have been faced with the problems of, say, the poor quality in terms of packaging, labeling, sorting, grading. That sort of aspect has been a limiting factor. And we had problems in the St. Martin market, we had problems in the Antiguan market, and some of our French neighbors, you know, they weren't so happy in the manner in which the produce was arriving there. Not to say the produce, when it's like post-harvest, when it's harvested, it's okay, you know. But it's just that the packaging, transportation, inferior type operations, which lowered the quality of our produce. So with our pack houses being operationalized and the investment that government has put in there so far, we would like to take it to the final stage right now where we can look at the Fresh Produce Act, select proper produce, select them, grade them, sort them into different sizes, package them properly, label them, and put them on that market as fresh Dominican produce for consumers.
The Kalinago community in Dominica this year will celebrate Kalinago Week with a difference. At a press conference held on Monday, organizers of the Week of Celebrations say that this year, the week of activities will concentrate not only on the achievements and the survival of their ancestors, but will focus on the strides that the Kalinago people of Dominica has made over recent years.
The whole thrust and the whole objective as we move and celebrating the lives of the Kalinago people is to get people more the sense of identity, of the sense of pride, and we too, we are the leaders today, have to recognize the contribution that the Kalinago people have made over the years, are making presently, and to continue encouraging the young ones to continue thriving towards achievements. And because most of the time, sometimes in communities in Dominica, you find the negative are almost highlighted. You know, they get the front page, some drug busters, some everything. But they are very important contribution made by the youth of the island, especially for the Kalinago people for over the years have made tremendous strides in the line of education, culture, and other entrepreneur in small business. And we as a people have to recognize the work of our people, and by so doing, we have to celebrate not only the life of the past, but celebrate the lives of the past, the present, and also look forward for the future for better Kalinago people and community.
Honorable Ashton Grano, parliamentary representative for the Salibia constituency, believes that there is a need to celebrate the survival of the people of the Kalinago territory. He says the Kalinago community in Dominica is unique, being the only group of indigenous people who have survived in all of the Caribbean islands.
The Kalinago people have come a long way. I mean, and the reason why we always need to be reflecting is because there's nowhere else in the Caribbean. Of course, there are some remnants of indigenous people in Central and South America and further up North America. But there's nowhere else in the islands of the Caribbean, because sometimes we get confused when we say the Caribbean, because there are countries in the Caribbean too in South and Central America. But in the islands, what we refer to as the West Indies, there's nowhere else in the West Indies where you can come and find or remnants, we say remnants because some people think we are all gone, of the Kalinago people, previously known as the Carib people.
Kalinago Week will be celebrated from Sunday 15 to Sunday 22nd of September 2013 under the theme Celebrating the Lives of Kalinago People.
The theme is right. That's a proper theme to have been chosen for this year's celebration. And as you realize, we say in celebration, many times we are being misquoted when we have these activities because there are those who think that we were trying to rake up old quarrels. The whole idea is not to rake up anything or any old quarrel. The important thing is for us to be able to reflect on our history and to chart a course for the future. And that's the main reason why we normally have, and we always have, those kind of activities.
The week will open with a church service on Sunday and will also highlight a marathon from end to end of the Kalinago territory. On Monday, the community will hold a ceremony to rename the area known as Monkey Hill to Hilton Hill. Tuesday is designated for cleanup and planting of trees, grass, and other shrubs. One of the highlights of the week is a live monument of Kalinagos dressed in traditional wear, which will be staged at the roundabout in Pokase from 10 a.m. According to Kalinago Chief Garnet Joseph, the council intends to seek approval for a monument to be erected in this area in honor of the Kalinago people. This activity will be followed by a rally from 5 p.m. On Thursday, an award ceremony and cocktail will be held under the patronage of Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit. The community on Friday will host a memorial service and vigil, and on Saturday, we'll host a cultural show followed by music from the Swinging Stars.
On Sunday the 22nd, we have the Sports Day, and some members of our Kalinago community participated in a traditional sports event in Martinique some time ago. We will be seeing them on show on that day.
And that's it for the English segment of the news. McPherson St. Luce is up next with Creole Highlights.
Allô tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole. Non moi, c'est McPherson St. Luce. Premièrement, State College Dominica ouvert la porte 9 Plita Moissalan. Parole cela sorti du ministère de l'Éducation, Honorable Peter Saint-Jean.
En mois septembre, le 23 mois septembre, State College qui ouvert la porte libre ces étudiants là. Et là, yo trouvé que yo en State College l'année ça là, mois septembre, yo péké en ces vieux bâtiments là encore. Yo qui a servi bâtiment neuf là. Nous aussi ni plan en place pour nous faire ça nous un official commissioning. Là nous avons ouvert bâtiment ça là officiellement check temps en mois octobre.
La nouvelle plaisir activité qui prend place pour Simen Kalinago le 15 septembre l'année 2013. Ces activités là annoncées pendant la conférence média jeudi. M. Prosper Paris, c'est chairman comité qui en charge de ces activités là.
Et bien, pour ça, nous mettons un programme ensemble qui a commencé le 15 septembre. Et bien, nous avons un marathon le matin à 6 h. Et bien, nous ne pouvons pas mettre ça dans une nouvelle là, mais nous avons un bagage qui Kalinago Got Talent, ça va venir dimanche soir. Dimanche soir là, c'est là nous avons exposé talent, jeunes gens, chanter, danser. Ça va venir à soir le 15 dimanche. Et lundi, là, nous avons nommé un nom communauté qui Monkey Hill, qui est macaque, mon macaque, mais c'est Monkey Hill qui a créé. Et bien, nous avons toujours dit pourquoi nous avons créé en place en Kalinago un macaque, Monkey Hill. Ça nous fait richesse là, et bien, monde qui communauté d'accord qui nous supposons nommer non ça bon monsieur Hilton Auguste qui était grand papa, c'est Auguste là qui fait en communauté là. Comme ça nous quand mettre en plaque, nous quand mettre Hilton Drive, Upper Hilton Drive, Lower Hilton Drive, là c'est pour mon et puis comme ça adresse là qui change de Monkey Hill pour Hilton Hill.
En d'autres nouvelles département Foué qu'a observé vendredi semaine ça là pour mettre attention à ce quoi pour nous. Parole ça là sorti officier département là, Marshal Sultan.
Si un jour nous allons à Botanical Gardens là et tout le monde public nous inviter tout le monde à venir à Botanical Gardens là et nous invitons qu'on joue en information hot quoi pour là. So tout le monde qui veut ça travailler là nos cafés et puis quoi pour là, yo ça venir à Botanical Gardens là 10 vendredi et nous ça bayo toute information et jouer pourquoi pour là.
Mais généralement, dis-nous compte ça fait quoi pour là en Dominique.
OK. Situation et puis quoi pour là c'est il a souffert on dit et puis on dit yo ka courir kit trade micro 6 et disease ça là a affecté la pourquoi pour là et il a tué yo. So ça gouvernement et puis forestry fait nous ni on mettre en cas en facilité nous ni à Botanical Gardens là et nous ni quoi pour en là nous ka try faire plus quoi pour nous ka dire mettez yo ensemble puis yo faire enfants quoi pour et nous ça mettez yo à la wild là encore.
Et puis finalement, ça fait de l'eau qui contaminée, ça l'a occasionné moun tapé les prospirosis. Parole ça l'a sorti au moun qui a une position comme chef département environ Sylvestre Sinville Pendant le meeting, Dr. Betki et Singh a formulé un plan adressé à la maladie ça.
Leptospirosis, c'est une maladie qui glossa chai. C'est une maladie qui c'est bête là ni maladie ça. Yo ka passer en pissa yo. So là yo pissi. Glossa chai. Il want to a bruise a bobo ni a coupé ou ni ou ça tape maladie ça là. So en temps mauvais la pluie. Flood. Ou ça moun pas supposé à jouer en gloire parce bête ça pisser, c'est bête ça ni leptospirosis. Avec moun tape leptospirosis ça, so oui, c'est une maladie glow. Eh ben oui, moi applaudé ministre agriculture avec ministre health pour convene forum ça là, c'est un scientific forum. Out of qu'a sorti hot forum ça là, nous qui tapé recommandation pour connaître comment pour deal avec leptospirosis, avec rabies. Rabies sont l'autre maladie qui parle contre en forum ça là. C'est un forum qui a une stratégie pour deal avec ces maladies ça là.
Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour Nouvelle Créole pour à présent. Non moins, c'est McPherson Luce. Au revoir.
Coming up next, a tip on starting your own business.
Do you have uncovered water storage drums around your home? Do you dispose of old tires, cans and old containers capable of holding water anywhere in your environment? Are you being bitten by mosquitoes, particularly at dusk and early morning? Do you keep houseplants in water? Do you spend your hard-earned cash to control mosquitoes? Has your community experienced dengue fever outbreaks? If your answer is yes to at least 3 questions above, you are at risk to dengue fever. Join the fight against dengue fever. The responsibility for a dengue-free Dominica lies with you. So, get rid of the Aedes aegypti mosquito.
Some of the most successful and happy people we know are entrepreneurs who created a business that's in perfect synchronicity with what they want out of life. One of the secrets to starting your own successful business is to choose to create a business doing what you love to do, whether at work, at home, or at your local soup kitchen. List these things out briefly. And don't worry if some themes are starting to repeat in each section. That just means you have some really focused ideas about what you want in life. Use these ideas as the starting point to decide your way forward. If you do what you love, you'll work harder, better, and live more happily. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website news.gov.dm. Friend us on our Facebook page and be sure to like our GIS Dominica fan page. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire news production team, I'm Kimani. Thank you for watching.